Well. This has not been a very good week for companies that own streaming services, that's for sure. This week we're going to be talking about how Netflix is going to be seeing a big drop-off in subscribers, apparently. Disney's stock drops. We're going to go a little bit more in detail on that, since I only covered it in small detail last week during the Q&A. And then finally we'll be talking about the current lawsuit between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and how that's going, or not going, as the case may be. So, with all that said, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and dear God, working through this is a pain.
Indeed. Welcome, folks, to Micah and The Hatman, live. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with our picks of the week. Hatman, you saw a Sonic. How was it?
I did see a Sonic. It actually was pretty good. I think it was better than the first one. And I actually really enjoyed the first one, too. This one is definitely, well, I'll say this. What surprised me the most is how faithful it was to the games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was not a Sonic movie that, I guess, like, tried to be, like, too human with the story. That's kind of a drawback from the first one, where there wasn't enough, I guess, Sonic lore. Dare I even speak that phrase? It felt like, you know, in the Godzilla movies, where it focuses a bit too much on the humans, you're like, come on, get on with it.
Yeah.
You want to see big monster fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much of that this go-round. And I enjoyed the hell out of it for that reason. Pulls heavily from Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Some from Sonic 2, of course. But mostly it is the plot of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is Master Emerald, Knuckles wants, works with Robotnik because Robotnik fools him into thinking he's a good guy, and that Sonic is a bad guy. Sonic and Knuckles fight. It's basically the plot of Sonic 3. And then halfway through the movie, fucking Gun shows up. So I'm like, oh shit, now we're going into Sonic Adventure already? What the hell is this? Thankfully, they're not in there for terribly long, because I think Sonic Adventure is about the time where I feel like things go a little too crazy. Well, maybe Shadow the Hedgehog. Anyway, enough about my knowledge of Sonic lore. No, this movie was actually, like, really awesome. A ton of fucking Easter eggs, including one that I definitely was not fucking expecting. The coffee shop, which is a front for Dr. Robotnik, is called the Mean Bean.
Huh.
So, I'm totally not expecting it. I appreciate it.
Pause for 1 second.
Pausing.
I have to say something to the chat here for a second. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall of text. Please, for the love of God, do not post walls of text in the chat. It is really annoying to anybody who's in the chat. Don't do that.
Oh, God.
All right.
Oh, God. See?
Continue, Hatman.
I said something about Sonic lore. Naturally, that's the response. Anyway, I really hope nobody is posting Sonic fanfiction in the chat right now.
Oh, God, I hope not. I'll time you out.
Anyway.
Like that, you'll spend 5 minutes of time out. I don't give a shit.
I will find a way to send you to prison. Anyway, enough about Sonic fanfiction. Yeah, no, this movie was really fun. Like, I had a smile on my face throughout most of it. Like, genuine humor, genuine fun. Idris Elba as Knuckles is not something that I expected would work as well as it did. I forget the name of the lady who does the voice work for Tails, but she is like the OG Tails voice actress, so works perfectly. Literally cannot complain about it. like I said, the humans like weren't really in the movie as much this go round, which wonderful. For what it's worth, the moments that were like human focused, they were funny. They were fine. There's a theme of like family because, of course, you put Sonic and Tails and Knuckles in a movie, naturally they're going to go the full like Team Sonic route or Sonic Heroes or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, the theme about family is fine. It fits in there. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. If you saw the first one, you know how it is. He's having an absolute blast with this movie. His appearance is way more in line with Robotnik from the games, even though he's not fucking huge. There is an Easter egg where they show him as Fat Robotnik from Sonic 1, which is hilarious. But yeah, no, it was great. I had a great time with it. And it's crazy to me to think that there are now 2 Sonic the Hedgehog movies that are good.
Yeah.
And one, like the sequel being better than the first one, which just, it blows my mind. Blows my fucking mind. But it kind of contrasts what I said about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. And that one I said, like, it's clear that the people making this know the source material. Like, they love Resident Evil because if they didn't, they wouldn't be putting all these references in here. But then the movie was shit.
Yeah.
This one, also, love for the source material. Clearly, they took direct inspiration from it.
Mm-hmm.
This movie would not exist without that. But it's good. And I can only surmise that one was going more the traditional Hollywood route of, well, we need to use this to appeal to traditional moviegoers too.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is just sort of, do what the fuck you want. Like, if you're making this for Sonic fans, go for it, because kids aren't going to give a fuck either way. And it worked. It's amazing what some freedom will do for your production.
Indeed. So overall, I mean, how would is this one of those movies you definitely say go see it now in theaters? Because you've been glowing about this for a bit now.
I would actually say yes, go see it in theaters. Even if you have not seen the first Sonic movie, it's really not a whole hell of a lot to pick up on from there.
Mm-hmm.
You basically get a rundown of what happened in the first one from the beginning of this one. So the first one is not a necessity.
Okay.
Not in the slightest. So go see this. Go have fun with it. And there's a mid-credits scene. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because no spoilers.
Fair enough. Well, there you go, folks. Sonic 2 gets a glowing thumbs up from Hatman, to say the least. My pick of the week. Last week when you were not here, and I admittedly didn't upload the VOD to YouTube because I didn't think I did that good of a job with the solo show. Last week I talked a bit about a couple of shows that Kurt Sutter worked on. For those who don't know, Kurt Sutter he started his Hollywood career as a secondary writer on The Shield, and then became the primary writer on it at one point with Sean Jordan, who created the show. And then I think he was a producer as well in like the later seasons of it. Oddly enough, when it started getting a lot darker, and it was already a dark show to begin with. And then I also talked about Sons of Anarchy, which is probably my favorite crime drama of all time. Well, the funny thing is that Sons of Anarchy has a sequel, sort of. It's set in the same universe, and it's called Mayans MC. Now, the Mayans were the sometimes rival, sometimes allied motorcycle gang that the Sons of Anarchy dealt with in the original show. And as you would imagine, judging by the title, Mayans MC picks up after the end of Sons of Anarchy and focuses on the Mayans, specifically their Santo Padre branch, which, to if I recall correctly, Santo Padre is a fictional town. I don't think there's a Santa Padre in Southern California, unless somebody in here lives in SoCal and can tell me otherwise. I admittedly did not do enough research, but in the town of Santo Padre is because it is a border town on the near the border of California and Mexico. The Mayans have a branch there, because in this universe, the Mayans, they originate from Northern California. Oakland. So, as it stands, the show takes place in Southern California and follows the character of Ezekiel Reyes, who's known as Easy by his everybody, because he just tells everybody to call him that. And in the picture you see there, he is pictured on the left. On the right is his older brother Angel, and basically, it takes a bit of a different path than Sons of Anarchy did. Sons of Anarchy starts with, Jax Teller is your main character, and he is like the prince. It follows Hamlet, for those of you who have never seen or read Hamlet. This does not do that. Easy Reyes is actually a prospect to the Mayans MC. And he's originally sponsored into the club by his brother, which most biker gangs actually don't allow, because the familial relationship blurs things. You want them to be sponsored by somebody who is not a blood relative. So,
that frame of reference, are you secretly a biker gang member?
Not yet.
Okay.
I do know people who are in biker gangs. There is a Christian biker gang called the Bond Slaves that actually tried to recruit me at one point. I didn't have the money for a Harley, though.
It's only Harleys like that? Okay.
Yeah. So, I love Harleys. I've driven them before, or rode them before, I should say. But, because you ride motorcycles, you don't drive them. But, and then I've met members of the Hells Angels. I've, met a couple members of the Outlaws, so I have frames of reference in my own life. But regardless,
okay,
because one conversation I actually had with those Hells Angels members is how accurate Sons of Anarchy was to that. And they said, well, we're not going to specifics, but one thing that they said is that a couple of guys who used to be in the Hells Angels worked on that show to make sure it was accurate. That's all they would tell me. And I'm like, that's interesting.
That's enough.
Yeah. I'm like, cool. So, regardless, the lead character that we're following starts out as a prospect, which is as low as you get in a motorcycle group. And basically what happens here is there is some shenanigans going on. You see, Easy Reyes was in prison for manslaughter because he accidentally shot a cop while he was pursuing the guy who killed his mother. It was obviously not something he meant to do. It was not premeditated, whatever. So oddly enough, they got so kudos to Kurt Sutter for getting what the sentence would be correct. But during the course of his time in the in the prisons of SoCal, he was recruited by the Department of Justice to be a narc, basically. So he is actually indebted to them at the beginning of the show. So, that's basically how the show starts, is that, Easy has been brought in to gain intel on the Mayans, who work with a cartel to bring drugs into the United States, specifically heroin. to get them intel, to get them information, and basically from there, his loyalties to everyone are constantly brought into question, and he's constantly trying to balance, whether or not the criminal life is what he wants to do, if he really does want to be part of this biker gang, or if he wants his old life back. Because before he went into prison, and before his mom had been murdered, he was an ace student. He was an athlete. He was headed to college. He was in good shape. And then one fire of a revolver later, everything went to shit for him. So it's a very different show. It's a lot more focused specifically on the characters of Easy and his brother Angel. You don't really spend as much time with the other members of the gang as you did in Sons of Anarchy, though as the show goes on, that changes. But as such, when you get to the third season, because they're on season 4 right now, so I've watched seasons 1 through 3. When you get to the third season was when Kurt Sutter got kicked off the show because some allegations of harassment or abuse or something like that behind the scenes that didn't actually pan out into anything, but it was too late. They already fired him, so there's nothing you can do. They still have to pay him though, because he created the show, it's like, well, whatever. But the third season, you could tell the new showrunners were taking very close notes from Sons of Anarchy. The only problem with the third season is that it escalates hard from season 2. Without really giving an idea of how much time has passed. And it's a little bit disorienting when that season starts. However, it's still good. It's still very good. It's just you're just gonna be surprised that everything went to shit as quickly as it did. To credit to the writers though, they did think of something that would actually make life shit for an entire area that is basically being run by a cartel, and that's shutting down the border. So, one thing people might wonder is, is this a show that takes like digs at Trump and things like that? Kinda, sorta, but not really. It's more, let me put it this way. The guys that are bitching about the DOJ and the Border Patrol being tighter and having more manpower and so on and so forth are criminals. They're kind of unreliable narrators. So at the end of the day, it's one of those shows where there's some kind of digs at that, and the opening fucking music sucks. A lot of it because they picked a song that's pretty anti-America. But the problem is that it doesn't fucking fit the show because the show does not bag on America at all. And again, your protagonists are criminals. They do some fucked up shit. It's because it's not like with the Sons of Anarchy where they were gangsters, but they just ran guns. Some of those guns, which in my opinion shouldn't have been illegal in the first place. These guys are drug traffickers. It's they're kind of into some heavier shit, and they work with a cartel. And for those who don't know how ruthless the cartels are in Mexico, holy mother of God, they're pretty fucking evil. And the Galindo cartel specifically, if you watch Sons of Anarchy, you know exactly how bad they are. So it goes without saying, this is a show that's very intense. What's funny about it is this is around the time that you could get away with now saying the F word. So it feels like every other word in this show is fuck. Which is kind of funny because when they start out like that, it's like this fucking, that fucking. I'm like, I've been around like guys like this. They didn't curse this much. Like, come on. So it's just kind of funny. So needless to say, it's interesting. The cast is good. For those of you who like Edward James Olmos, he's in this. And not only is he in this, he's putting on, in my opinion, his best acting performance since Stand and Deliver. Like, he's amazing in this show. Almost to the point where he kind of, like, leaves everyone else in the dust in regards to acting ability. But then again, he's an Oscar-nominated actor. So yeah. Needless to say, though, like, it's a great show. It's a great freaking show. I recommend it. Absolutely.
All right, 2 glowing recommendations.
Indeed. Do you have any questions for me about Mayans MC Hatman? Because I don't know if you've ever told me if you watch Sons or not.
No, it's weird because Sons of Anarchy is one of those that everyone tells me needs to be put on my list. Even my sister, who knows like what my tastes are as far as TV goes, because typically her tastes are like the exact opposite. She's like, even I liked it. You need to watch this, and I just haven't bothered at all. So I guess I just need to start with Sons of Anarchy more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, of the 2 shows, Sons is the better of the 2. I would say very much the better of the 2. A lot of...
Plus it's got Ron Perlman in it.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big thing with, like, both shows, is, like, they have, like, a really well-known and renowned actor that sort of, like, was the name value behind it and sort of carries it to get people interested. But first off, Edward James Olmos is leagues better of an actor than Ron Perlman, even though Ron Perlman is really good. But the big thing in Sons of Anarchy is that they do a really good job of, like, emphasizing the crew, and they've all got very different personalities. Some of the personalities of the guys in Mayans is just asshole. Really. Like, the only... There's 4 members of the Mayans that... Well, 5. Marcus Alvarez, I like. But he was in Sons. So I already know him. He's just a bad motherfucker. I like Easy Reyes and his brother for obvious reasons, because they're the main 2 characters of the show. And the other guy that you'll meet that's in the Mayans MC that is a lot of fun to follow is Coco. Because he's a former Marine sniper, and he's like the sharpshooter of the group, and he's just a goof. He is just a goofy fucking dude. So he's a he's the other guy you're gonna remember. A lot of the other guys are just kind of dicks, you know. Though thankfully the president of the club, Bishop, gets some character development in the 3rd season that makes him very sympathetic for a lot of the ways that he does things. So, but yeah, glowing recommendation from me. You can watch it on Hulu. There's new episodes every Wednesday apparently. So I will definitely be watching the new one on Wednesday when it comes out, because the 4th season's starting out pretty good. All right, let's get to our topics. First and foremost, this was one of Hatman's recommendations. Trouble at Netflix. What's going on with Netflix right now, partner?
So Netflix's stock is tumbled. And by tumbled, I mean, I really hope they have Life Alert, because they need a button to press after saying, I've fallen and can't get up. Jesus Christ. They had the first, like, net loss in subscribers in, I think, 10 years?
Jesus.
And their stock dipped somewhere between, like, 30 and 40%.
Yeah, let's actually bring this up. So
it was bad.
Yeah, like, okay, so now we've got it on screen here. So just to give people an idea of what they're looking at, what I have here in front of me, and for those of you who might be listening to the audio, I've pulled up a screen of the whatchamacallit, the 1 month of the stock price, just a month long. So over the course of 1 month, they peaked at $391.50 per unit, and now they have tumbled down to $215. So stock price has gone down. What is that? 391 minus 215. So their stock price in 1 month dropped $176 per share.
That's Jesus.
Yeah.
That's almost half.
Yeah, that's
I think that's 40. I think that is about 40%.
It's almost 40%. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, see, I can't math.
Let me run the numbers again real quick. So
I chose an English degree so I wouldn't have to math, y'all.
Yeah. Okay, so it's $166 loss. So yeah, it's 43% loss.
Yeah, Jesus
That's
Christ.
brutal. Brutal.
That's really, really bad. Like, usually you don't see dramatic sell-offs like that unless, well, the obvious, the company's in trouble, but the other one that people don't realize happens a lot is if there's a lot of controversy in a company, like if there's a whole shit ton of negative press, you see sell-offs like this happen too.
Yeah, and like
it seems like this is both of those.
Yeah,
Netflix has not had a very good time in the news lately either.
No, one thing that I also noticed, I got an email about this, and they I don't know why I'm still getting them, but I got an email that Netflix was raising their prices again. Plus, even if you are a subscriber at like one of their higher tiers, they're gonna start running ads. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
So, yes, they're going to start running ads. So far, the belief is that they won't start actually running ads for at least another year, but also that it's just going to advertise more Netflix content, sort of like what we see from Hulu and HBO Max. Which, I mean, okay, but at the same time, those things are fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't fucking want that. They're also talking about cracking down on password sharing.
Yep, I was just about to mention that.
And yeah, they do that. People are going to drop Netflix. Like,
yeah.
They're not going to put the fuck up with it anymore. And then the third thing that they're going to shoot themselves in the foot with, I think the foot is shot clean off at this point. They're going to introduce a like low cost option with full on commercial breaks, like the ad supported Hulu, basically.
Right.
I don't think it's going to help them as much as they think it will.
No. Now, what I pulled up... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well,
I was going to go into more a deep dive. So.
Well, what I pulled up is a year-to-date look at the stock. So, at the beginning of the year, Netflix's stock was at $597 per share at the beginning of the year. Which I want to say, yeah, it was close to a 5-year high. So...
Jesus.
Yeah. And it has only gone down from there. In fact, let me see what that 5-year high was. October of last year, one share of Netflix was over $600. $690 specifically. They had been more popular than they ever had been in regards to stock price. And it has just gone down and down and down. So, If we go like in January, at the end of January, they took a tumble. Last week of January, they dropped little over $100 a share from 501 to 397. And it stayed in the $300 range, from lows of like 340, highs of 400. And yeah, just out of nowhere, it has just dropped, and it continues to drop. This is insane. For those playing the home game, Cuties didn't even hurt their stock this much.
No. Bad business decisions will do this. And let's be real. There's one factor that I don't think correlates to a bad business decision, and that's COVID. Netflix added a record number of subscribers when COVID started because everyone had to stay home. So what are they going to do? They're going to stream a whole bunch of shit. They're going to watch more streaming services.
Right.
That's also why the numbers for Disney Plus exploded as fast as they did. That's also why Hulu's numbers went up. HBO Max, so on and so forth. And HBO Max also, if they didn't have those high numbers, they wouldn't be releasing, movies that otherwise would have debuted theatrically in HBO Max. So streaming was huge over the course of COVID. Duh. Now that COVID is receding finally, and people aren't as afraid to, normal people aren't as afraid to go outside anymore, you're seeing a lot of that drop off. People are going to cancel their Netflix subscriptions. They don't have a reason to use it anymore. Inflation is going up. People have to pinch pennies. Well, don't need Netflix as much anymore. They also don't feel very guilty about dropping it either because, like you said, prices are going to go up soon, and they're going to have ads. Those two things turn people off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they're losing a whole bunch of their old content too. The stuff that got people invested in Netflix years ago, longtime subscribers, they're losing them because everyone is doing their own streaming service now. So now what have they got left but a whole bunch of really shitty Netflix originals that nobody really fucking wants? And then the ones that people do want, like the fucking animated adaptation of Jeff Smith's Bone that I've been wanting for literal years, gets fucking canceled. I have very, very strong feelings about that. We get more seasons of fucking Big Mouth, but we can't have something anyway. It's those are the bad business decisions that are turning people off. Those are turning people away. The situation with COVID and inflation, okay, sure, but Netflix is not doing a good job of retaining the people. They're not doing a good job of trying to convince subscribers with their content to stay. Because otherwise, they're going to go off and do their own fucking thing. I've had zero desire to watch Netflix since the whole Cuties debacle. No desire whatsoever. I've been perfectly fine with Hulu and HBO Max and hell, even Amazon Prime for all its faults.
Yeah.
No desire to go back to Netflix at all. And these decisions that they're making further cement the idea that I made the right decision by dropping them.
Yeah. Well, you think about just pricing structure alone. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Hulu, you can get the Hulu package from with Disney Plus, and you get ESPN Plus, Disney, and Hulu for what was it, like $15 a month, something like that.
$15-$20, something like that, which is still cheaper than Netflix's.
Well, yeah, that's 3 streaming services.
Yeah.
You know, like for the same price as just Netflix.
Yeah. And you don't have to pay for like a 4K upgrade on that like you would with Netflix too.
Oh yeah, because that was the thing. Like for Netflix to just watch it in HD is $15 a month. Yep. Like I don't have to pay extra to watch Amazon Prime stuff in HD. I don't have to pay extra to watch Hulu stuff in HD because those are the only streaming services I use at this point. Mm-hmm. You know. So like, what the fuck? Like. Also,
yeah, it's nonsense.
Real quick, 420 Gunny throws in $25. Says, place Farscape funniest moment number 2. You got it. Like that's just silly to me. You know? There is a I think at the end of the day, a lot of people got to understand something cuz you know, I'm not saying that cuties was not something to get outraged about because it sure as shit was. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, the fact of the matter is that normies didn't know what was going on there.
No.
But what normies do know is the instant that you see a ridiculous increase in cost and then a decrease in content, the platform ain't worth paying for it at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brainbox throws in $5. He says, it's funny because Netflix is committing the same mistakes that saw Blockbuster go tits up in the video fishbowl. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing about it, though. Netflix, I feel like this was always inevitable with Netflix as far as losing a lot of the appeal, the initial appeal, because they were dependent on licensing content from other networks. You know, that catalog was what kept them afloat. And now that the streaming game is being played by everybody, now they are entirely dependent on their original content. It's yes, it is sort of like Blockbuster as far as they're choosing not to adapt, but they don't really have much of a choice either. They're at least attempting to adapt, but the only problem is they're greenlighting pretty much any project that comes their way. They're not selective enough about it. And sure, like you're going to get the occasional hit like Squid Game, for example, or Tiger King. But for all of those, like, how many other Netflix originals are out there that nobody is going to want to watch, that you would literally like spend 2 seconds, not even considering, but just skimming over it in your suggested list?
Real quick,
you're not even going to think about it.
Yeah, real quick, I need to address something in the chat. So Leonardo wants says, so normies only care about prices and not child porn. So that's not what I said. Don't fucking misquote me, dude. That's bullshit. What I'm saying is that the controversies that happen on the internet don't necessarily always translate to the people who are more concerned with cat videos on their Twitter timelines than they are, you know, much else that's going on. There's some things that are controversies that they hit the internet and they will have an effect, but at the same time, you know, John or Jane Q. Public not necessarily going to know about it because that's not the stuff that they follow. So
Twitter is not real life.
Yes, exactly. Now, again, like, if more people knew about it, more people would be angry. But not as many people as you think, not so much. That's why we didn't see the same drop. You know, it's one thing is going to affect the normal guy more than the other thing is. You know, I needed to put that out there because it's like, come on, guys. Like, first off, don't misquote me. And second, you know what I meant. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that, and also, you got to take into account, too, people, even if they did get that kind of information, if it's something that they're already willing to use, if it's something that they use regularly, it's not going to stop them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell somebody that, like, all the bullshit that goes on with Nestle, for example. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that sucks. That's not going to stop them from buying their fucking Nesquik if they depend on it every fucking week.
Or buy Nikes.
Like, it's not going to stop them. Like, you really have to shock some people into acting. And for some, yes, what amounts to softcore CP is going to be that kind of shock that they need. For others who, maybe are more dependent on Netflix for whatever reason, that's not going to be enough. Maybe overt racism will be enough for them. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Well, then again, what was that thing about the Black Coalition at Netflix or something that was boycotting, and then they all got fired?
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't enough for them then. But everyone's got their own shatter point, basically. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, and overall, and more often than not, the one controversy that will hit everyone, normies and internet people alike, is when you hit the wallet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next topic. So Disney is actually having some stock issues of their own as well.
Oh, shit.
So, to get this topic started, let me go ahead and bring up my handy-dandy computer. So here's Walt Disney's stock. Their stock is actually worth less than Netflix's, oddly enough. They are down...
Well, there are more shares of Disney available than Netflix, I believe. They split their stock several times.
That's true. They are down to $118 a share. Over the last 6 months, they have dropped. That's from 172. So
wow.
Let me get the percentage figured real quick. So over the course of the last 6 months, they have seen a 30% decrease in their stock value. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm not quite sure which factor has hit them the most. One thing I will say right now, probably was not a good idea to try to go to war with the state of Florida.
No. No. Or at least the course correction that they did. Let's go ahead and get this all out of the way so we don't have to talk about it anymore. The whole quote-unquote don't say gay bill, initially, Disney did not have any strong feelings for it.
No, they were staying out of it wisely.
Yeah. It was an investors meeting, I believe, and the CEO said, we're not getting involved. It's not a fight that we think is necessary for us to step into. And people got pissed. And people wanted to boycott them. So then Disney came out forcefully against it. And then the other side of the people got pissed. And then they started to boycott them. And basically we're in the spot that we are now. Now we don't have to talk about that fucking politics bit again. Yes.
And what I will say is this, without getting into the what the bill is not, blah, blah, blah. It's a really bad idea when you were in bed with the government of Florida, and then you bite the hand that feeds. Because, for those who don't know, Disney had very special permissions that basically allowed them to self-govern. That nobody else got in Florida. Now those have been rescinded.
Yeah, basically it saved them a lot of time. They don't have to ask for permits and shit in the Reedy Creek district.
Yep.
Which was created specifically for them.
So now they're at a point where they have to basically be now that basically they're in shitsville with the government. Now, I would argue that those things shouldn't have existed in the first place, but that's a political discussion. The big thing just is that doing that, and then of course, having people come out in public and basically say we're going to cram the LGBT agenda down people's throats. So it's a losing game. Because at that point, you're not looking to make family-friendly stuff. You're looking to make propaganda.
Yeah.
Because this is something that, like, Hatman and I do not give a shit if you're gay. We don't. We don't care. We don't care if you're trans.
We do not give a fuck.
We're just glad you're here.
We are literally hands off. As long as you are not harming other people, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Just don't hurt people. That's all we ask. And the thing is that one thing I think we both agree on is that when it comes to issues of sexuality and things like that, that's something that parents and children should be discussing. That's not something that should be forced on you by a multimedia corporation like Disney. It's not their job, It's also not that it's not the job.
Place.
Yeah, it's not their place. It's not the place of teachers or anybody else. That's the parents' job. What the fuck ever happened to the simplicity of Zippity Doodah? Like Jesus tap dancing Christ.
They said that one was racist. So
fuck off.
That's why. Yeah, Zippity Doodah was in Song of the South.
I don't care.
I actually enjoy that movie.
Oh yeah.
Unironically, I enjoy that movie. One of those that you gotta watch via bootleg at this point.
Regardless, though.
But no, it's not their place, and the fact that they took such a massive, sudden swing to the other side is just no. That's not good. Disney's appeal has, for pretty much all of its lifetime, been that it doesn't focus on any one particular market or demographic. Like even the damn princess movies that everyone would say, oh no, that's totally focusing on young girls. No, those can be enjoyed by literally everybody. They marketed traditionally to everyone.
Yeah.
Now they want to close ranks, basically. They want to close them and say, no, actually, these are the kind of people that we're interested in. All you ones who enjoyed the whole family-friendly content or stuff that was wholesome and whatnot, didn't have a particular political message behind it. Yeah, we're not going to make stuff for you anymore. Now it's all about this other junk. Naturally, you're going to lose people.
Yeah.
Naturally, you're going to lose long-time supporters, long-time financial supporters. Like how many people are now turned off completely to the point where they're like, I will never like vacation at a Disney property again. And keep in mind, folks, they have like a whole timeshare program.
Yes.
For people who go to Disney World regularly. My family was involved in that. My mom is selling out of it now because of this.
Yeah, my uncle was. I don't know if my uncle is still involved in it now. I haven't talked to him about it, but he was for the longest time.
Yeah, but like it's long time people who have spent like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, and in some cases possibly even over $1 million with Disney, just with their own families, now pulling out. It's no fucking wonder. It's no fucking wonder that we're seeing a stock drop. Like you can't just make such a radical shift like that to the point where not even the press, who is relatively friendly towards you, can spin it in a good light.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing, or at least what I find to be the funny thing. Disney already, if they paid attention to their own companies that they own, would have known that this sort of a move would hurt their profit margins. Marvel Comics. Specifically, all new, all different.
Oh. That's right.
If they had paid attention to how that went, they would have known that the best thing that they could have done whenever it came to all of this was to shut the fuck up. Because the last time that this sort of thing got pushed onto consumers was during All New, All Different Marvel, which I believe that they were owned by Disney at the time. So, and by the way, they have not, Marvel still has not recovered from that, mostly because they continue to double down on the stupidity of it. But if they had actually paid attention to it, or if Disney had paid attention to it, they would know that this doesn't work. At the end of the day, you want to tell stories for everybody. You know? There's nothing wrong with having characters of different races or whatever. But that can't be your focus. Stan Lee even said it. Your focus has to be on the character. Making them feel like a human being. Making it feel like the world outside your window. And I don't know if anybody's looked out their fucking window lately. But most people you talk to aren't caricatures. And that's the big frustration. And again, if they had paid attention, if they had had understood where the screw-ups were there, if they had found out why it is that, the push that Quesada and Sana Amanat wanted was a bad idea, they would have just stayed quiet, but they didn't. And now what we are seeing is the same logic that drove All New, All Different Marvel is now driving a company, and their stock is tanking because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think you touched on something else too. Most people don't want to be fucking preached to.
No.
Most people in their fantasy escapism don't want any kind of political message shoved in their face. And most people don't want to run the risk of having such a message shoved in their face either. Like, even if Disney is not explicitly doing it with the media that you're consuming now, just the idea that it could be coming is going to turn people off. It doesn't help that you've got, top level people saying that they want to do this. Or they want to tell these certain stories because of the political elements that are attached to it. I don't want that. I certainly don't want that. My God. We've seen it with video games too. As soon as you start making the shit preachy to the point where it takes you out of the escapism, you lose the audience, you lose your money. It's not worth it. Don't fucking do it.
So now we find ourselves in a situation where, again, another major company is just teetering downwards.
They hate money.
Well, they seem to hate the things that make them money. Like, there's nobody there that seems to understand that, the goal of a business is to make money and be self-sustaining.
Yep. It's almost like when you let enough anti-capitalists into the house, shit like this goes down.
Yeah. I remember when I worked at State Farm, Somebody tried to get me to go to a some meeting for diversity and inclusion.
Oh, God.
And it was my manager. It was a black woman. And sweet lady. She wasn't really being mean about it. But but I didn't go to it. She just asked me why. I said, it's very simple. I pinched my skin and I said, this has nothing to do with insurance. And that's why I'm here. I'm a claims adjuster. I'm not here to, like, my skin color doesn't matter. Nobody's does. It's we're here to make money. Or in this particular case, to make sure that the company that we work for keeps its money. That's the goal. So to focus on everything else, I think it's silly. And I said, not to mention, look around here. I'm like, you look at this call center that we're in. We're the fucking rainbow. You know, like, we got everybody. I think we're okay on the diversity and inclusion thing. You know, I don't need a lecture about it. I just treat people like people. At the end of the day, that's all you have to do. That's just it. Just be cool. Just don't be a fucking spurg. Okay?
It's not difficult.
Yeah, no, being a like, just be a good person. Just be nice to people. And all this other shit, like, which oddly enough is something that Disney constantly would say. Oh my God, it's so stupid to me.
It's not fucking difficult. I mean, you're going to have something in common with somebody. Like, even if it's the most minuscule fucking thing, you're going to have something in common with them. And even if they are absolutely insufferable and you don't want to have anything in common with them, it's not hard to not be a dick.
Exactly.
It's not. It's as easy as turn around, walk away, don't say anything. It's simple. It doesn't even take that much brain power to do either.
We've gotten away from something as simple as you've got a friend in me.
There you go.
That's basically it. We have gotten to the point where we've gotten away from something that is so simple as the song "You've Got a Friend in Me." That's the sucky part about it. You know, it's like we can't have these common values anymore, these universal ideas. We have to go to all this stuff that's about separating everybody into categories. Fuck all of that noise. Nope. We're all human. You know what? Let's get a lesson from the Black Panther, shall we? Hatman loves it when I bring this one up. You know the one I'm talking about.
I might.
It has to do with the book you got signed for me.
Okay, yes, I know the one you're talking about now.
So, in Black Panther, the Complete Collection, Volume 1, which this is Christopher Priest's run, which is the best run on Black Panther. There is a scene early on in the book where Panther is at Times Square, and he is after a fight with Kraven the Hunter. And there's a lot of black folks that have assembled there. And try to act as if the Panther is their hero, quote unquote. Where is the page? I really need to read back through this at some point because it's like one of the best comics freaking ever.
It is so good. They're very, very dense, but Priest gives you more than your money's worth as far as literature goes.
He says it here: in any country, among all peoples, we should not become polarized by self-interest, but embrace our common humanity.
Boom. The king has spoken.
Yeah, we have gotten away from that. From simple messages like that. Where people don't Don't think about that anymore. Everything's got to be divisive. Everything's got to fit into some sort of pronouns or what the fuck ever. You can't just be human anymore. Fuck all that noise. All right, let's go on to the final topic. So, Hatman, have you been following the whole Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard thing?
Bits and pieces of it. I have not been following it closely at all.
So I admittedly have not followed it that closely either, because a lot of things that I have seen have been saying, like, Amber Heard is done. This is the thing that will destroy Amber Heard forever. And I'm like, okay, I don't like her. And the facts do seem to point that she was very abusive. But, like, let's see how the court case actually goes. Because it could go very much the other direction. But, one thing that I have done is kept an eye on it since the court proceedings have gone on. And, one thing that I've seen a lot of is that there has been, how do I put this? There's been, a lot of untruth coming from the Amber Heard side of things. One of those things specifically was that Amber Heard's lawyer went in front of the court and said that, and brought up a certain makeup brand. Then she claimed that that was the makeup brand that Amber Heard used all the time, or the specific makeup line that Amber Heard used all the time to cover up bruises. There's just one problem. That line didn't exist at the time. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And
somebody fuck up.
One thing that has, like, honestly been, was really sad to see was Johnny Depp's testimony. And all of he goes through, like, the opportunities that he lost. And how much, like, that basically, like, his career has been destroyed by the things that Amber had said to him, or said about him in an op-ed. And it's kind of hard to argue. Because, and the one thing he even said, he's like, Disney, like, after they did what they did to me, they're still putting stuff out there with Jack Sparrow.
Yep.
They didn't stop using the character. In fact, he didn't reference it, but I remember, like, the Pirates of the Caribbean update for Sea of Thieves would be a good example of that. And, you know, he mentioned...
Everyone thought he was coming back to be, to do voice work.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
And on the flips, and the other thing he mentions is that, of course, you know, that he lost the role that he had in Fantastic Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the end of the day, you know, the claims that she has are dubious at best. And yet they were enough to destroy a man's career. Like, that's jacked up. And by the way, like, this is a guy who used to visit, like, the terminally ill as Jack Sparrow, and he wasn't getting paid for it.
Literally kept a costume in his car so he could go do it if he was ever in the area.
Yeah. He would actually, like, if he was in, because the Pirates Ride, I believe, is in Florida, right?
It's in
No, it's in
multiple parks. I don't know. No, it's in California and Florida.
Oh, okay.
But it's also, I think there's like one in Japan, one in Hong Kong.
Yeah, but I remember
Might be
seeing
in all of them. I don't know.
I remember seeing at one point, like, he just happened to be in the area of one of the Disney parks at some point, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna surprise people at the Pirates ride as Jack. I'm just gonna be there. And like this, like everything that I've ever heard about Johnny Depp, like he's been like one of the nicest guys in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, this is a dude who, when the accusations first came out, like pretty much every one of his exes came out to defend him, including the woman he was married to that he ended up leaving for Amber Heard.
yeah.
Like, she came out to defend him and say, like, no, he literally is incapable of doing this. I don't know whose testimony you're looking for at that point.
Yeah, it's very strange to me. But I think that, and one thing, I've talked to that Umbrella guy who does a lot of the coverage of this stuff with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And the one thing that, when we were talking about it, was that the case is sort of a testimony to kind of how our society is. Where you can be a woman and claim to have been harassed or something along those lines, and people just take it as read.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of perturbing in a lot of ways. You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of that's a thing that can happen. That you can just be a woman and make that claim, and then everything goes wrong. And by the way, Johnny Depp's not the only person who suffered because of that. There's a professional wrestler who went by the ring name of Enzo Amore, who lost his job at the WWE because of a fake rape claim. And it wasn't really investigated. They just got rid of him because they were too worried about the bad press.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably more. Well, and of course, what happened to Vic Mignogna? Okay, so it looks like resetting the stream did not solve the problem. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to deal with it. So I apologize in advance, folks.
Twitch issue.
It's a Twitch issue. Like, if I reset OBS, I have turned off everything that could be downloading anything from the internet on my end. There's no reason that we should be getting any dropped frames or lag at this point, so please do not spam it in the chat anymore. It gets really fucking annoying when I've done everything that I can do to make sure this isn't happening, and it still happens. And then people just constantly whine about it when they know that, you know, I've done everything in my power to do it. So we're going to go ahead and hit the Q&A. Let me go ahead and pull up Discord really quick and see what's going on there. But yes, it is a Twitch issue. But that also means that it'll probably even itself out later. Okay, so the first question we had was from Acorn Soup, and he said, relating to previous alternatives to Disney discussions, what's the bounty for Sleeveless Comics to produce conservative retellings of classic fairy tales in graphic novel format? So, I'm gonna be honest with you, just from a business perspective, all of that stuff about, like, the idea of us reproducing, first off, conservative retellings of classic fairy tales. So what is... Are we having the sleeping Ronald Reagan? George W. Bush and the Seven Dwarves? Like, so that doesn't sound very entertaining. Now, all jokes aside, though, no, that's not something that I'm interested in. is like doing retellings of old school fairy tales. That just doesn't interest me. I would much rather try to create more original stuff and my own ideas. And I don't do it just because I'm a conservative. I like to provide an alternative, not just for political reasons. In fact, quite the opposite of political reasons. I fucking hate politics. It's because I want to get away from the political influences and get back to more universal ideas. Things that bring forward the common humanity. And the fact of the matter is that the mainstream is not doing that. And I want to be able to provide the alternative. If people aren't going to spend their money there, I want them to spend it with me.
Plus, it kind of flies in the face of what we were talking about earlier about wanting to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd be hypocrites.
Why bottleneck myself to conservatives? Not to mention, we're not at a point yet where conservatives are willing to spend the money on independent creators. Not unless that creator has already been established through the mainstream. I mean, you look at most of the big earners in Comicsgate, they're all former pros for the big two. You know, Ethan Van Sciver, Shane Davis, worked for DC. Mike S. Miller worked for DC. Well, he's not Comicsgate anymore, but you get my drift. Who else am I forgetting? Dale Keown is now Comicsgate. Whenever he re-releases Pit through Ethan's company, that's going to be huge. Who else? I'm trying to think of Art T. Bear. Art T. Bear wasn't just, not only did he work for Marvel and DC, he was one of the Image founders. So conservatives aren't really putting their fucking money where their mouth is when it comes to independent creators. They won't back anybody that hasn't already been established, which is, in my opinion, very hypocritical. That's part of the reason why I kind of moved away from political movements, because I think a lot of them tend to end up being a fucking joke when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Servant wants to know, heard Rumble is pulling shadow banning worse than YouTube does, to the point YouTube looks better by comparison. If true, how badly would this hurt their future, given recent crazy all over social media? Well, this is something that we're starting to see as a problem among both right-wing and left-wing circles, from like both just normal conservatives and the extremes, is that like people say they're free speech and they end up wanting to censor certain content. And
cough, cough, Andrew Torba.
Yeah. And this is something that I will say right now, when it comes to alt tech is a joke. All of alt tech has been a joke. From a business perspective, if you want to get people in and make your platform big, you're going to want to have a terms of service, but it needs to be consistent and equally enforced. That's it. It's not hard. I know some people out there fashion themselves as free speech absolutists or what the fuck ever. The fact of the matter is that a pure free speech platform will never exist. Because people just get offended by shit. So at the end of the day, if there's going to be rules, they just need to be equally enforced. That no matter who you are, doesn't matter race, creed, or whatever, you have to follow the same rules as everybody else does. That is all that's needed. And that's something that these companies are running into that constantly screws them up. So I can't say I'm really too surprised by it. It's going to really hurt their future, though, because they bank themselves on free speech. You advertise on free speech, and then you start going crazy about some shit that offends you, then people aren't going to give a shit about you because you said you were about free speech. You can't say you're about free speech and then have a problem with boobs. Stuff like that. Cough, cough, Andrew Torba. 420 Gunny wants to know, thoughts on YouTubers like Angry Joe getting copyright claims struck by CBS for doing negative Halo TV series reviews.
Oh, this shit again?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by it. This tends to happen whenever there's negative reviews of certain products and stuff out there, is that they'll get struck by those companies to try to shut them up. Sony did the same thing with The Last of Us 2, if you guys remember right. Because the fact is, the Halo TV series is a fucking disaster. I saw like a clip of it on Twitter, and it legitimately looked like something out of a Sega CD video. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, Steven Spielberg was involved in this.
They fuck. The fact that apparently Master Chief spends a significant time unmasked. No, sorry, no. Nope. You can do a story about him being human without having to, show his face off.
Yep.
Fucking all the goddamn time. It's not fucking hard. If you play the games, you know that, oh, that's right. They're not basing them off of the fucking games.
Yeah.
They fucked it. They fucked it up.
Derek Mozzarella says, why do you think 343 is an inability to get content out on a consistent basis for Halo Infinite? Other Xbox games don't have this problem, like Gears, Forza, and Sea of Thieves. Seems strange Microsoft has let this happen to their most valuable IP. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're syncing. Apparently, the co-op is getting its own campaign, and they're devoting a lot of time to that. But at the same time, at this point, that co-op campaign is gonna have to blow your freaking mind. Given all the time that they spent on it. Because I'm gonna be honest, all I want is Chief and the Arbiter with their freaking zip lines killing stuff. That's it. It's not hard. Maybe at some point they can, take turns kicking Spartan Locke in the dick. That would be great. I'd be all over it. And also, I'd love to be able to play it with Hatman, who's on console while I'm on PC.
So remember that that theory that I had way back before Infinite dropped, where I said I think what happened and why it took so long and why there were delays is because they changed up the nature of the project about midway through and kind of had to rush to get it finished because they didn't have a whole lot of time left.
Yeah.
I think now we can say for certain that was the case. That they changed it midway through development. Evidently, it was just not good at all. Changed it, had to race to the finish. They couldn't get everything out on time, so we got what we got. And to try and make up for all that fucking money that was lost in development, they put out the damn store the way they did with armor pieces that are too goddamn expensive, with an armory that makes no goddamn sense, because money, and also, fuck it, they don't have time to iron out all the fucking kinks. There was an article also that I saw recently that said that there was apparently going to be like a hero-based multiplayer also. Why they even considered that, I have no fucking idea. That sounds really stupid to me.
Yeah.
Just like if they're considering doing a battle royale now, which is the rumor of the last few fucking months, that would be really fucking stupid. And I really hope they don't do that. I almost wish, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, they would take some points from Halo 5's multiplayer. Because fucking Warzone Firefight was my goddamn jam, and I missed that shit. But no, as good as Infinite's campaign was, why they dropped the ball so hard on multiplayer is absolutely fucking beyond me. It makes no sense whatsoever. Especially, it's the reverse of what we got with Halo 5. Halo 5's multiplayer was on point. Campaign was a disaster, an unmitigated fucking disaster. I've got no fucking idea. I have no idea.
Here's my question.
Faith in 343.
With Infinite's multiplayer, because I haven't played much of it, do they have Griffball yet?
I don't remember seeing Griffball at all.
Oh, come on!
I mean, they don't even have King of the Hill.
Oh.
Like, King of the Hill is a mode that's coming with, like, the new season.
But I'm going to just say it. I'm going to just say it. As time has gone on, Gears of War has become the better franchise.
Oof. Oof. I will say this, though. I don't go out searching for Griffball because I don't particularly care for Griffball myself. It's not my cup of tea. So it's possible that it's got it. Chat will probably know more than I will. But no, King of the Hill, no, that I do enjoy. Fucking there's another one that's a really popular type. I think SWAT.
CTF. Halo has always had amazing capture the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And like CTF Blood Gulch. What the fuck else do you need? You know?
Yeah, really.
It's like little simple things are really all you got to do to do that. So do I know why they're having these problems? I have no fucking clue. But as good as Halo Infinite's campaign was, a lot of development has really felt very fucking disjointed. That's for sure.
I kind of wonder if it's leadership at this point.
Could be.
I kind of question the leadership because this. I mean, Halo 5, of course, was a disaster. Mm-hmm. Infinite is becoming a disaster. Master Chief Collection took literal years before it was in a completely stable, playable state. And now, ironically, because they actually bothered to go back and fix it, it's probably the best Halo experience that you have right now. And it's literally games that are fucking... I think all of them are 10 years old now. I think Halo 4 turns 10 this year.
Yeah. I'm ordering you to... God, Halo 4 was fucking boring.
I have a newfound appreciation for the campaign, but that's just me. Multiplayer for Halo 4 was terrible. Like, let's be real. It was not good.
Oh, Legend Pros. You know, I don't really need that, so we're just gonna kick you out and just ask you here to fuck off.
Hey, go fuck yourself. Get that guy out of here. Piece of shit.
What happened? I can't
Boss.
see chat.
There's a bot.
All
right.
Nope. We don't like robots here.
No. Okay. And thank you, Optimus, for getting him. Diva Night Rose.
Ironically, send a robot to kill a robot.
Exactly. Optimus just pretends that all of them are Rodimus Prime and just they're just gone that much faster. All right, Diva Night Rose wants to know thoughts on just some guy losing his mind. I'm absolutely disgusted he defended extremists while spitting on and demonizing Christians and Republicans. So, here's the thing about just some guy. Every interaction I've ever had with him is friendly. Every single one. He has never said a unkind word about me. He's known me for years. We're not friends. Like, we don't know each other that well. But he has always been very respectful to me. He knows I'm a Christian. You know, maybe it's because I'm from Chicago originally. Like, from what I understand, where he's from and where I'm from weren't that far from each other. So we kind of grew up in the same part of town. Actually, he might be from... You know, I won't say the area because somebody told me that in confidence and I don't want to dox him. But the point is that he and I are from the same region. So maybe that's why he's always been as nice as he is to me, knowing I am a Christian. And knowing that I'm a right-winger. I will say that his current shift in attitude is a shift. It's a big shift. Because he's never been like this before. You know? And it's very weird to me. I think a lot of it is the fact that Nick Rekieta went pretty hard on him. And look, I like Nick too. Nick's been... Here's the funny thing about I am the Kevin Bacon of the internet. Jeff Holiday can eat my dick. The fucking Antifa supporting piece of shit. But I am the Kevin Bacon of the internet. You throw a rock at somebody on the internet, they probably met me at some point. And Hatman can attest to this.
It's uncanny.
Yeah. I have met a ridiculous amount of people. If you look on Twitter, the people who follow me, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, you'd be surprised at some of them. So, when it comes to this sort of thing, like, I know Nick as well. And Nick is also a really nice guy. But Nick goes hard on people. He is a no-simpy kind of dude. Obviously, that's not going to vibe with everyone. I am of the opinion that as wrong as Just Some Guy was, and as hard as Nick went on him, plus the fact that Nick's audience went pretty hard too, I think that broke him in a lot of ways. I think that he started to see that as being what it's like to interact with all Christians or all Republicans. And I think that honestly is a silly way to judge things. Because here's the thing. First off, Nick is not in control of his audience. No one is in control of his audience. But I do know that Nick is the type of person to tell people not to go harass people. Because he's a lawyer. He knows what the ramifications are of if the opposite happens. You know? So, you get a feeling Just Some Guy will make a video about this? About me? He'd probably talk to me first. Because, again, I haven't even said a negative thing about him. Because as a human being, like, again, towards me specifically, he's never been anything but nice. So, I think that the one thing that, kind of needs to be understood about this is that there is a disagreement here, and I feel like the one thing that is causing this current situation is his unwillingness to see the bigger picture of some of the things that are going on. The other thing is just getting as political as he's become lately. And he's just not getting off the internet. He's not... Sometimes, and I don't mean to be a dick about this, sometimes you just gotta go touch grass. Sometimes you just gotta go... You gotta go touch grass. You gotta go and go talk to people. Normal people. I would actually suggest to him, take a break from Chicago for a while. Trust me, like I say this as somebody who has not lived in the city for a number of years. It's good to get out and get some different perspectives. It's good to get out and meet the other people. Like, he was talking shit about Tennessee like it's the same state as when the KKK was founded. I'm like, dude, have you ever been to Tennessee? The people there are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your fucking life. Like, go to the South. It's some of the nicest human beings and best food you'll ever have. It's amazing. I still glow about Texas. Texas is awesome. Like, yeah, you're gonna have disagreements with people on politics. That's the nature of politics. But at the end of the day, and this is like my attitude towards just some guy is this. I have not said one negative word about him as a person to answer this question. And that's for a good reason. Because he's been nothing but nice to me. People were ragging on him on a live stream that I was on, and I was, again, as nice as I could be while still disagreeing. Because at the end of the day, I would much rather just wait for the moment where he relaxes a bit and realizes that his assumptions that he's making about Republicans, his assumptions that he's making about Christians, are wrong. Are there some Republicans who are bigoted? Absolutely. There's also Democrats who are bigoted. Are there Christians that are bigoted? Absolutely. Are there atheists that are bigoted? Oh, hell yeah. But that's because it's a problem of the human condition. It has nothing to do with just your ideology. You know? And I would hope that he would take some time to, instead of constantly just assuming, just listen. Just listen. And if you still don't agree, just let it go. Because it's not worth this constant escalation. It really isn't. I remember it was Jung who had said that there are points where you just have to sacrifice the ego. And just let it go. Because it's not, at the end of the day, it only causes you misery. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing. And he's starting to lose, like, he's lost almost all of his following on Twitter. And now he, we'll have to see if he loses it on YouTube or people just stop watching. We'll see what happens. I would hope that he turns it around and at least starts to realize that, like, these fights are not worth fighting, you know? Because, like, he has no influence over the politics of the modern day. Neither do any of the people that he's been arguing with. So, it's literally just been a pointless argument. And he's condemning, people who believe in Jesus, and acting like an edgy internet atheist just because he's angry. It's not the type of person that I was of the opinion that he was beforehand. And I hope he'll abandon that. SGD says, are your hopes similar to your expectations for The Witch from Mercury? Well, my expectations, like, whenever there's a mainline Gundam show, been set pretty high. Because there's only one that I've watched that I would describe as bad, and that was Seed. The rest of them have been some of the greatest anime that you'll ever see, or at least, like, overall pretty good. Of the other ones, the only one that I would say had a lot of problems was Victory Gundam. Like, the first half of Victory Gundam is not that great. The second half of it's fucking amazing. And then, like, Double Zeta can really throw people off. But that's my expectation when it comes to a mainline Gundam series, is my expectations are going to be very high. So, when it comes to The Witch from Mercury, do I hope it's going to be as good as I want it to be? Yes. In short, yes. Hardboiled wants to know, building on what you discussed about the stock plummeting for Netflix and Disney, this week Elon Musk called out Netflix for neglecting good content, sci-fi, etc. Is it possible he's planning to buy up Netflix when he's taken over Twitter? I don't think that's going to happen. Because he's at a point with Twitter where he's going to have to actually get other investors who are like-minded with him to just get Twitter. So to see them do that, like other people do that with other companies, I wouldn't be against it. Not at all. So could it potentially happen? I don't know. But I would like to see it happen. I'm of the opinion that is a very good alternative to sitting, or a much better alternative to sitting around and complaining about it. If you're rich enough, just buy the fucking company. You know? It's sort of like one of my favorite scenes from Batman Begins is when they're in the hotel and Bruce brought those two models with him, and he just says, "I'm buying this hotel and I'm setting some new rules about the pool area." I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, why don't more people do that? This is so yeah. And then finally, RPX wants to know, do I like Pina Coladas? No. I like whiskey.
I don't think I've ever had one.
I don't like fruity bullshit drinks.
I like fruity bullshit drinks.
Well, I don't.
I would probably like it. That's the thing. I like whiskey too. So, well, I got a sweet tooth. So.
By the way, one thing I should probably mention is that Nick Ricade actually did say I have better taste in whiskey than you do. I thought that was funny.
Because. Does he think Buffalo Trace is cheap
yeah,
shit?
he when I was on last time I was on a stream, which is it's been a minute, I said, yeah, I'll do a shot of whiskey with you. I said I got Buffalo Trace and I've got Gentleman Jack. What do you think I should go with? He goes, go for the one that's actually whiskey. Get the Gentleman Jack. I'm like, oh,
Gentleman Jack actually whiskey. Gentleman Jack is way more watered down.
That's not watered down. It's smooth as fuck.
Them's fighting words.
Now I don't mind the Buffalo Trace either, but it's not as smooth. That's my thing.
Yeah, for sure. See, I tend to like, if I'm gonna drink whiskey, I do like stronger stuff. Like I'm not above some barrel proof Maker's Mark. That shit's good.
See, I don't like Maker's Mark at all.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, I could never get into it. But on the flip side, though, I really like Knob Creek. So it's just a taste. It's just my taste buds are different.
I remember if Knob Creek is a wheated whiskey.
Oh, it's a bourbon
or not? I was wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it's a wheat thing. Anyway, yeah, no, Knob Creek is good. So we'll let you live for that one.
And then Melee Brawler asked, I missed this one. He says, given what's happened to Netflix recently, do you guys see streaming as the future of television, like so many people have been saying for the last few years, or is it too soon to call? I think it is too soon to call, to be honest with you. I say we're going to know in a couple more years from now.
I'm going to say yes, it's the future. Everyone's getting on board with it. It's going to be the new cable, just like the people were predicting when everyone started getting their streaming services. You're going to have another like Disney Plus bundle, and all of these companies are going to come together and say, yes, we will put all of these in one convenient bundle for you. But you've got to watch ads with them too. And cable will return. And it's gonna suck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have to hit the chat.
Off to the chat.
So Crystal Hydra wants to know thoughts on Moon Knight so far. I haven't watched it. Have you?
I have not either. It's weird. I love Moon Knight. I have not watched any of it.
I just want him
really want to, but
he just needs to like. I'm probably not gonna watch it until the season is over, or somebody tells me he actually.
That's probably where I'm at too.
Yeah, or somebody tells me that he actually went into Dracula's castle and said, "Hey, Dracula, where's my fucking money, you nerd?"
Oh, I hope. A man can hope that they'll reference the Moon Knight memes, but I don't know that they will. Oh man.
Leonardo Juan says, "What excuse from the entertainment industry do you hate that it drives you mad or crazy?" For him, it's the excuse that animation is for kids. But I don't know if that. I wouldn't call that an excuse for something. So you might want to rephrase that question, because it's not really I don't know what that is. Like, excuse for what? For doing things, not doing things? You gotta be a little bit more specific on that one.
Yeah. I guess for like a excuse for something underperforming. I don't know, because that could be taken either way. Like, that could be taken as a excuse for underperforming or an excuse for people not engaging with something. I don't know. Well, I guess technically the same thing. Anyway, ignore me. I'm over here spitballing my brain.
There is a wasp in my apartment.
Well, it's been nice living there, but it's time to burn it down.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab something to swat it real quick. I will be right back.
All right, I got $5 on Micah. Anybody want to take that bet? Jesus.
Okay. Blunt force trauma right to the face.
All right.
And it's dead.
Whoever took my bet, pay up.
I just wham with a sandal. Right? It was looking
Good.
at me as I hit it. And I'm like, ha ha ha.
It's okay. I put $5 on you. So
well, good.
I'm feeling pretty proud of myself right about now.
Okay. JH wants to know what warrants my hatred for Harry Potter. The fact that I had an abusive my ex-wife is abusive, and she loved Harry Potter. And we're gonna leave it at that.
It's gonna blow your mind when you find out that I looked a fuck ton like Harry Potter growing up.
Oh, good lord.
I was being called Harry Potter before I knew what the hell Harry Potter was. That was a thing that happened.
Oh, he says, okay, real quick. Leonardo 1 goes into to clarify. Says, I meant as an excuse for being shit or not taking it seriously like you wanted to evolve. So for being shit, It wasn't for you. Or it wasn't meant for everybody.
Yeah, that one's annoying.
That is the one I hate the most. Legitimately infuriating.
The one that I can't stand and guaranteed to get an eye roll out of me is it's only the loud right-wing trolls or loud misogynists that are saying bad things about this, and that's why it seems like people hate this. That is irritating. And we still get that too fucking much.
Yep, good picks. Mab wants to know, with Netflix and Disney stocks in the red, do you think they'll do some self-respect, reflecting, and turn it around?
No.
I would, probably not, but I would hope. Because, what's going to eventually happen, I think, is that there's going to come to a point where the stock is going to continue to go down, which, hopefully somebody who could run the company better would buy in majority and then take over. But I'm not going to hedge my bets on that. Now, if I was rich and I had the money to buy a majority stock in Disney, I would absolutely pull an Elon Musk. I'd walk in there with somebody behind me with a boombox over his shoulder playing Suicide Messiah why am I forgetting the name of Black Label Society, while I fucking stroll in there in this outfit where I've got my fucking vest on and my jeans and shit, and I sit down and in the board office and I just smoke a cigar and start barking orders like J. Jonah Jameson. I'd be sitting there like, you unfuck the streaming service. You fire the idiot who said that we were going to try to indoctrinate kids. You get me pictures of Spider-Man.
And here I was thinking that you were going to go the Kingpin route.
I haven't gone bald yet.
That's enough of that.
When I go bald, I will be
Compressors
going
are an asshole.
What are?
Compressors, air compressors.
Oh.
That thing is an asshole and it's loud. I don't like it.
Yeah, mine tends to be loud whenever I'm airbrushing.
But yeah, so Kingpin later.
Yes. RPX, didn't you just... You asked a question in the Discord. You can't double dip. Didn't think I was going to catch that, did you? Nice try.
Trying to pull one over on you.
I don't think I missed any. Nope, it looks like we got all of the questions.
Okay. I presume we have cringe.
We do.
Right, I'm going to have to take a break and run to the computer.
Oh, wait, no. We actually got more questions.
Oh, more questions? Okay. So more questions and then cringe.
Let me see real quick. JH, again, only one question per person. You already asked me the one about Harry Potter. So, One Path gets the last question then. He asks if, is he lacking in perspective, or is there a lack of animation that targets teenagers? I think a lot of it, like, anime targets teenagers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anime that targets teenagers.
Shonen anime especially.
So I would say, yeah, that would probably be, my answer to that.
As far as Western animation, no, it's usually just for kids or adults, and they know that teenagers are going to watch the adult stuff.
Basically. And somebody said, do you have hair? Yes, that's what this is right here. It's just cut very short. But I do have hair. Is there a game after the stream or something? No, not this week. Reason being is I would play more Gundam Battle Operation, but they kicked me out of the game for 4 days, rather.
Law what?
Yeah, for disconnections. The problem is the disconnections were because of my ISP. Because they had a hiccup in the lines. And then after that I got penalized for aggression towards teammates. Because I launched missiles in a mobile suit I was using, and some idiot got in the way of them. Like, I didn't intentionally aim for him. So yeah, I got kicked out of the game for 4 days, as of yesterday. So, and I've tried to appeal it, and the first email that I sent, like, they didn't even read what the problem was. They just copy-pasted your standard response, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, that's no, you're not reading what I'm saying here. So I'm very angry about that. All right, now on to Le Cringe. We only have one today, unless somebody donates another $20. Let me open this link here. And bring this up. then Hatman said he's going to the computer.
Yes, I'm at a computer, so.
Okay, so let me send you the link then real quick. And I believe we're supposed to just watch this from the timestamp. I'm going to send it over Discord. Where is Hatman? There he is. There we go. Okay. Tell me when you got it up.
Okay, I have it up.
All right. Hitting it in 3, 2, 1, go.
Wake up. Wake up! Crichton!
What happened?
What didn't happen?
Oh, God, there were girls, right? Feathered chicks, the Rainbow Coalition.
Girls' breast, blue breast, green breast, I don't know. All I know is they spiked our drinks and took our money.
They rolled us?
Yeah, they rolled us. You know, these
My pulse
shots
pistol.
that we took, they spiked them.
My pulse pistol. They took my damn pulse pistol.
No one stole your pulse pistol. We're on Lomo. No weapons allowed. Your pulse pistol's on the transporter pod.
I don't remember that. Where are my boots? Dargo, we're in a window. There are people watching.
I think that's why don't you just get dressed and give him a good show, sweetheart?
I am dressed.
All right, that was moment 2. And yeah, Farscape's a blast, to say the least.
Oh my god.
It is
Sorry, I
a
had to
great...
mute myself for echo, but...
It's a great fucking show. We still need to watch that, actually. So, well, Hatman, anything before we take off for the night?
Yeah. My brain a fuck.
I know that feeling. Well, that begs the question, who shall we raid? I think I know who, though. Abigail is doing her Sunday school stream. She's doing a charity stream today, apparently, so we're going to go raid her.
Ooh. Remember, it is Orthodox Easter, so...
Yes. Now, she's a
Easter
Baptist.
2, electric boot glue.
She is a Baptist, from what I understand. So...
Oh, she's from my neck of the woods, then.
Probably. But we're going to go raid her. Everybody remember, be as wholesome as possible, because she is a Christian as well, but she's also a lot less worldly as me and Hatman are, to say the least. So we'll go ahead and get the raid started. Not going to worry about a raid message this time. But remember, guys, come back next week. We will return with more insanity and other such fun stuff. Just tell Abigail hello for me, and we will see you guys next time.